The DNA results trembled in Nathan Cooper's hands. 99.99% probability of paternity. He read the words once, twice, three times, waiting for them to rearrange themselves into something that made sense. Then he looked up at the two little girls playing in his living room. Sophie was teaching Lucas how to fold paper airplanes. Lily was watching with those big eyes, the same unusual shade of hazel green that Nathan saw in his own mirror every morning. His daughters. For 8 years, they had existed in a world he knew nothing about. Learning to walk while he sat in business meetings. Saying their first words while he watched football on Sunday afternoons. Starting kindergarten while he tucked Lucas into bed and read stories about dinosaurs. And the woman who had carried them, raised them, loved them alone for all those years. She was Rachel Morgan, the love of his life, the woman who had vanished without explanation nearly a decade ago. The woman his mother said had taken money and run off with another man. This is the story of how one Christmas Eve shattered everything Nathan believed about his past. How a single act of kindness unraveled a web of lies that had stolen almost a decade from five people who were always meant to be together. But to understand how Nathan Cooper's world collapsed and rebuilt itself, we need to go back 3 weeks, to a freezing December night, to a moment when a tired single father almost drove right past two small figures huddled in the dark. Columbus, Ohio, Christmas Eve, 22 degrees and dropping. The commercial district had gone quiet hours ago. Holiday lights twinkled from darkened storefronts, their cheerful colors reflecting off patches of ice on empty parking lots. Nathan Cooper gripped his steering wheel and thought about his son. Lucas would be impossible by now. 6 years old and absolutely certain that Santa Claus would touch down on their roof in a matter of hours. Poor Mrs. Henderson, their 72-year-old neighbor, was probably exhausted from trying to contain his energy. Nathan allowed himself a small smile. That kid was his whole world. Christmas had become complicated since Melissa left. 4 years ago, she had walked out when Lucas was barely 2, chasing some dream in Los Angeles that apparently did not include a husband or a toddler. The divorce papers arrived 3 months later. Nathan had not heard from her since, so now it was just the two of them. Father and son against the world. He was mentally calculating pancake batter for tomorrow's dinosaur-shaped breakfast when movement caught his eye. Just a flicker near the dumpsters behind the grocery store that had closed early for the holiday. Probably a stray cat, maybe a raccoon scrounging for scraps. But something made him slow down. He pulled over, put the truck in park, stepped out into the bitter wind. That was when he saw them clearly. Two small figures pressed against the brick wall, huddled together beneath torn blankets and flattened cardboard boxes. Long curly brown hair, tangled and matted, thin shoulders shaking, faces pale as chalk and streaked with dried tears. Children, little girls, no older than 7 or 8, surrounded by garbage bags in 22-degree weather on Christmas Eve. Nathan's heart seized in his chest. He approached slowly, carefully, keeping his movements predictable. He did not want to frighten them. One of the girls lifted her head as he got closer. Her eyes held a fear that made Nathan physically ache. But beneath that fear was something worse. Resignation. The look of someone who had already been disappointed so many times that hope had become dangerous. Nathan crouched down several feet away, making himself smaller. "Hey there," he said softly. "Are you okay? Where are your parents?" The girl stared at him for a long moment. She could not have been more than 8, but her eyes belonged to someone much older. Then she spoke, and her words broke something inside him. "Please don't take us back. We'll be good. We promise we'll be good." The other girl sat up, positioning herself in front of her sister like a small shield. "We'll be quiet," she added, her voice trembling. "We won't ask for food, please." Nathan felt his eyes burn. What kind of life had taught these children that being good meant being silent and hungry? He kept his voice gentle, steady. I'm not going to take you anywhere you don't want to go. Can you tell me your names? The protective one studied his face for a long moment. Finally, she answered, I'm Sophie. This is my sister Lily. We're twins. Hi, Sophie. Hi, Lily. I'm Nathan. How long have you been out here? Sophie glanced at her sister before responding. Since this morning. Our stepdad Marcus drove us here before it was light. He said we were too much trouble. He said if we came back, things would be much worse. 12 hours. These children had been sitting in freezing temperatures for half a day while the rest of the world prepared for Christmas. Listen to me, Nathan said carefully. I have a son about your age at home. How about you come with me, just for tonight? There's heat, there's food, and tomorrow we'll figure everything out together. Lily's eyes widened. You mean it? We can come inside? The question landed like a blow. These children had been discarded like garbage, and they were asking permission to escape the cold. Absolutely, come on. He stood slowly, offering his hands. Sophie grabbed Lily's hand first before reaching for Nathan's. Even accepting help, she was protecting her sister. As they walked toward his truck, Nathan noticed something glinting in the dim light. Around each girl's neck hung a small, tarnished silver locket on a thin chain. Lily kept touching hers, her frozen fingers pressing against the worn metal. Those are pretty, Nathan said. Sophie's free hand flew to her own necklace, and her expression hardened. Don't touch them. They're ours. They're all we have left of her. Her. Someone important. Someone lost. Nathan filed that away and helped the girls into his truck. When he walked through his front door with two shivering children, Mrs. Henderson gasped. But the elderly woman did not ask unnecessary questions. She simply nodded and hurried to call her daughter about borrowing some clothes. And then Lucas appeared. He came padding down the hallway in his dinosaur pajamas, brown hair pointing in 6 directions, eyes bright with curiosity. Dad? Mrs. Henderson said you brought home some kids. Yeah, buddy. 2 girls who needed help. They're going to stay with us tonight. Lucas walked right up to Sophie and Lily and studied their dirty faces. His first question was not about any of those things. I'm Lucas. Do you like dinosaurs? I have about 100 books. I can show you everything. Something shifted in Sophie's expression. A hairline crack in the armor she had constructed around herself. I don't know much about dinosaurs, she admitted quietly. Lucas's face lit up. That's okay. I'll teach you. Did you know Triceratops had 3 horns? For the first time since Nathan had found them, Lily smiled. It was small, barely there, but it was real. Later that night, after baths and borrowed pajamas and soup that the girls devoured hungrily, Nathan tucked all 3 children into Lucas's room. His son had insisted on surrendering his bed. They can sleep here, Lucas had said matter-of-factly. I'll use my sleeping bag on the floor. It'll be like camping. Nathan looked at this beautiful boy who had been abandoned by his own mother at 2 years old, now giving everything he had to 2 strangers because it was the right thing to do. You're the best kid I know, Nathan whispered. I know what it's like, Lucas whispered back, glancing at the twins already drifting off. When someone leaves you, it's really scary. I don't want them to be scared. Around midnight, soft crying woke Nathan. He found Lily thrashing in her sleep, both hands clutching her locket, whimpering words he could not quite make out. Sophie was awake, sitting up in bed, watching her sister with exhausted eyes. She dreams about Mama every night, Sophie whispered. She calls and calls, but Mama never answers. Nathan's chest constricted. What happened to your mother? Sophie's composure crumbled. One day she was there. She was sick, but she was there. Then Marcus said she had to go to the hospital. The little girl's voice fractured. After that, he told us she was gone, that she didn't want us anymore. Do you know if she's... Sophie shook her head, moisture sliding down her cheeks. We don't know if she's alive or dead. Marcus wouldn't tell us. Nathan felt something crack open inside him, a grief he did not fully understand. Try to sleep, Sophie. We'll figure this out. He closed the door gently and leaned against the hallway wall. Somewhere out there, a woman had worn a locket just like the ones around her daughter's necks. A woman these girls loved desperately. A woman who had vanished from their lives. Nathan did not know yet that the photograph inside those tarnished lockets would shatter everything he believed about his past. All he knew was that he had found two broken children who needed help, and he would not fail them. Christmas morning brought unexpected magic. Nathan had woken before dawn and wrapped some of Lucas's duplicate toys in spare paper. A stuffed elephant, an animal puzzle, art supplies. But when Sophie and Lily came downstairs and saw packages with their names underneath the tree, their reactions nearly brought him to his knees. Lily stared at the wrapped gifts like they might vanish if she blinked. These are for us? Really for us? Of course. It's Christmas. Sophie pressed her lips together, fighting for control. But we didn't. We don't deserve... Nathan crouched to their level. Listen to me. You don't earn Christmas. You don't earn love. It's given freely, or it isn't love at all. The days after Christmas brought difficult conversations and careful progress. Nathan contacted Child Protective Services and began the process of becoming a temporary foster parent. His background check came back clean. His home exceeded requirements, and critically, Sophie and Lily refused to let go of his hand whenever social workers mentioned other placements. Please don't make us leave, Sophie had begged. He's nice. He doesn't hit. The caseworker had looked at Nathan with something like respect. If you're willing, Mr. Cooper, we'll expedite the paperwork. He was willing. He could not explain why, but he was willing. During those first weeks, the girls revealed their past in fragments, in quiet moments, in nightmares that echoed through the house. Marcus Webb had seemed kind at first. He appeared in their lives when their mother got sick, offering help. But something changed after he and their mother married. Drugs transformed him, made him cruel. He hit us when we made noise, Sophie confessed one evening, her voice barely audible. Or when we asked for food, sometimes for no reason at all. Lily had a small scar on her forearm, a dish Marcus had thrown. Nathan listened with his jaw clenched tight, but he kept his voice steady, always steady. None of that was your fault, none of it. He hired a private investigator to find answers. The truth about their mother, the location of Marcus Webb, what had really happened to this family. Meanwhile, something was growing in this house, something that felt like belonging. Lucas appointed himself the girls' official protector and educator, ensuring they always had enough to eat, introducing them to his stuffed animal collection, delivering passionate lectures about the differences between dinosaurs and pterosaurs. One afternoon, Nathan came home to find all three children on the living room floor, Lucas in the middle, demonstrating proper paper airplane construction. Sophie caught Nathan's eye and smiled. Not the guarded half-smile she had shown before, a real one. But Nathan could not shake the feeling that he was missing something crucial. Something about those lockets the girls never removed. The truth arrived on a Tuesday afternoon in January. Nathan had left work early to handle foster care documentation. When he walked through the front door, he heard crying from the girls' room. Not the usual nightmare sounds, something raw. He found Sophie and Lily on their bed, lockets open in their hands, shoulders shaking as they gazed at whatever was inside. Hey, Nathan said softly. What's making you so sad? Lily looked up with swimming eyes. We miss her so much. We just wanted to see her face. Would you let me see? I'd like to know what your mother looked like. The girls exchanged glances. Then Lily extended her locket with unsteady hands. Nathan took it carefully, opened it fully, and the world stopped spinning. The photograph was small and worn, but the face was unmistakable. Those bright eyes, that radiant smile, the dark hair falling in soft waves. Rachel Morgan, the woman Nathan had loved with everything he had at 23. The woman he had planned to marry. The woman who had disappeared without a word of explanation. His mother's voice echoed from 9 years ago. She took money from me and ran off with another man. I told you she wasn't good enough for you. Mr. Nathan? Sophie's voice seemed distant. Are you okay? He could not respond. His mind was performing calculations he did not want to complete. Rachel had vanished 9 years ago. Sophie and Lily were 8. If Rachel had been pregnant when she left. He looked at the girls. Really looked. The distinctive eye color he had noticed but never questioned. The shape of Sophie's nose. The stubborn set of both their chins. Features he saw reflected back at him every morning. This woman, Nathan managed. Her name was Rachel, wasn't it? Rachel Morgan, Lily confirmed softly. She's the best mama in the whole world. Nathan closed the locket carefully and returned it. His hands would not stop shaking. That night he made a decision. The DNA test happened the next morning. He told the girls it was routine foster care paperwork. They did not need to know the real reason. The 3 days waiting for results were the longest of Nathan's life. If they were his daughters, where had Rachel been all this time? Why had she hidden them from him? Had his mother actually paid her off? The envelope arrived on a Friday. Nathan's hands trembled as he tore it open. He read the critical line 4 times before the meaning penetrated. Probability of paternity, 99%. He sank into a kitchen chair. Sophie and Lily were his daughters. For 8 years they had existed without him. First steps, first words, first day of school. All of it happening in a life he knew nothing about. And while they were being beaten by Marcus, while they were going hungry, Nathan had been here, oblivious, because he had believed a lie. His phone buzzed. The investigator. Mr. Cooper, I found her. Rachel Morgan. She's alive. She's at a rehabilitation facility in Cleveland, recovering from a severe infection. A pause. Sir, she's been desperately searching for those girls for 3 weeks. Ever since she woke up from a coma and discovered they were gone. Rachel was alive. Rachel had been looking for Sophie and Lily. Rachel had not abandoned them, which meant everything Nathan had believed for almost a decade was wrong. Nathan dialed the rehabilitation facility before he could talk himself out of it. The phone rang twice before a weak voice answered. Hello? Do you have information about my daughters? Please, I've been trying to find them for weeks. That voice, older now, strained with illness, but still so familiar it made his chest ache. Rachel, his voice cracked on her name. It's me, Nathan Cooper. Silence stretched across the line. Nathan? Barely a whisper. How? Why are you? I have them. Sophie and Lily. They're safe. They're with me. The sound that escaped her was pure relief, a sob that seemed to rise from somewhere impossibly deep. Thank God. She was crying openly now. Are they hurt? Are they okay? Marcus took them while I was unconscious, and when I woke up, they were just gone. They're okay now, safe. Nathan closed his eyes. But Rachel, I need to know. They're mine, aren't they? Another long silence. Yes, she finally whispered. They've always been yours. Then why? Why didn't you tell me? I spent nearly a decade believing you took money from my mother and left me for another man. Is that what she told you? Rachel's crying intensified. Is that the lie she used? What do you mean lie? We can't do this over the phone. Please, bring them to see me. I need to hold my babies. I need to look you in the eye when I tell you what really happened. 2 days later, Nathan drove Sophie and Lily to Cleveland. He had explained as gently as possible that he was their biological father, that their mother was alive. Sophie had wept. Lily had asked if this meant leaving Lucas behind. No matter what happens, Nathan had promised, Lucas is your brother now. That's never going to change. The reunion at the rehabilitation facility exceeded everything Nathan had imagined. The moment Sophie and Lily spotted their mother standing in a doorway, thin and pale but alive, they ran. Rachel dropped to her knees and caught them both. "I thought you left us," Lily sobbed into her mother's shoulder. "Marcus said you didn't want us anymore." "Never!" Rachel's voice was fierce. "I would never leave you. You are my heart." "We thought you might be dead," Sophie whispered. Rachel pulled back to look at their faces, cupping their cheeks. "I'm here, babies. I'm here, and I am never letting go again." After nearly an hour, the girls exhausted themselves and fell asleep, curled on either side of their mother. Rachel stroked their hair gently and looked at Nathan with eyes that held almost a decade of pain. "Tell me everything," he said quietly. She took an unsteady breath and began. 9 years ago, Rachel had discovered she was pregnant with twins. She had planned to tell Nathan the very next day, but Eleanor Cooper found out first. "She came to my apartment," Rachel said. "Your mother. She said she knew about the pregnancy, called me a gold digger, said I was trying to trap you." Nathan's jaw tightened, but he stayed silent. "She offered me money to leave. I refused. That's when she got cruel." Eleanor had made threats. She had connections at Rachel's father's company. She would have him terminated. She would spread rumors throughout their community. "I was 22 years old, Nathan, pregnant with twins, completely alone." Rachel's voice splintered. "She was so powerful, and she told me you already knew, that you agreed with her, that you wanted me gone. So you left." "I left, moved to Cleveland, worked multiple jobs. It was brutally hard, but we survived." "What about Marcus?" Rachel's expression darkened. "I met him when the girls were 5. I had gotten sick. Marcus seemed kind at first. He helped with the girls while I could barely stand." Her laugh was bitter. "Then he changed. The abuse began gradually. A harsh grip, a cruel word, then escalated into something much worse. I tried to protect them," she whispered. "I always put myself between him and the girls. But I was so weak. The infection that had nearly claimed her life had landed her in a hospital, unconscious and away from Marcus. But when she awakened, the girls were gone. I have been searching every moment since," Rachel said, "and nothing. No one knew anything. Until you called." Nathan squeezed her hand. "You should have come to me. Found some way to tell me the truth." "How?" Rachel looked at him with exhausted eyes. "I sent letters, dozens of them. I called your phone every day for months. Nothing ever got through. I thought you knew and chose your mother's side. I never received anything, not a single letter, because she intercepted all of it." Rachel closed her eyes. "Every attempt I made to reach you, she blocked." Eleanor, his mother, the woman who had smiled across Sunday dinners while his daughters grew up without him. The confrontation with Eleanor happened 3 days later. Nathan drove to his mother's house without warning, found her arranging fresh flowers in a crystal vase. "Nathan, what a lovely surprise." Her smile flickered when she registered his expression. He placed 2 tarnished lockets on her immaculate counter. "Do you recognize these?" Eleanor's face went ashen. "These belong to my daughters." Nathan's voice was quiet, controlled. "My 8-year-old twin daughters. The children Rachel Morgan was carrying when you threatened her into leaving 9 years ago. Nathan, I can explain. The letters you intercepted, the phone calls you blocked, the lies you told me. He leaned forward. Explain. Eleanor's facade crumbled. I did it for you, she finally whispered. She wasn't good enough. You deserve better. Better? The word tasted like poison. My daughters were beaten, Mother. Starved. Abandoned on garbage bags on Christmas Eve. While I was here, oblivious, believing your lies. Is that the better future you wanted? Eleanor began to cry. I never meant for them to be hurt. I just wanted her gone. You wanted control. You wanted your version of my perfect life, and you didn't care who you destroyed. Nathan turned toward the door. Please, Eleanor sobbed. Forgive me. He paused with his hand on the doorknob. I don't know if that's possible. Maybe someday. Maybe never. But right now, I need to be with my family. My real family. The door closed behind him with finality. The months that followed were a journey of reconstruction. Rachel completed her rehabilitation with fierce determination. She found an apartment near Nathan's house, close enough for daily visits. Marcus Webb was eventually located in a neighboring state. With the girl's testimony and medical records documenting previous injuries, prosecutors assembled an overwhelming case. Marcus accepted a plea deal and received a lengthy prison sentence. When Nathan told Sophie and Lily, relief flooded Sophie's face. He really can't come back. Ever. Never. Nathan crouched to look into his daughter's eyes. He will never hurt you again. You have my word. It was the first time he had seen Sophie fully believe that safety was possible. Healing was not linear. Sophie still tensed at unexpected movements. Lily still had nightmares. But gradually, day by day, they mended, and something unexpected developed. Lucas and Rachel connected almost immediately. One evening, Nathan discovered them in the kitchen together. Rachel was teaching all three children her grandmother's cookie recipe. Lucas stood on a step stool beside her, stirring batter. Mom says extra chocolate chips are mandatory, Lucas announced. Then he froze, eyes going wide. I mean, Miss Rachel, sorry. Rachel knelt immediately, taking his small face in her hands. Lucas, sweetheart, you can call me whatever feels right. But Lucas's lip trembled. My real mom left. She didn't want me. Is it okay to want another mom? Rachel pulled him close. Oh, honey. The woman who left missed out on the most extraordinary boy in the world. But family isn't only about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who chooses to love you every single day. She leaned back to look at him. And I choose you, Lucas, if you'll have me. Lucas hugged her fiercely. Sophie and Lily watched with wide eyes. That night, Sophie found Nathan in the hallway. Lucas calls her mom. He does, but she's not his biological mother. True. Nathan weighed his words, but Rachel chose him. Sometimes the people who choose you are just as real as the people you're born to. Sophie considered this. You chose us too, before you even knew we were yours. Nathan's throat constricted. I did, and I would choose you again, every single time. Spring arrived with warmth and new possibilities. One Saturday in May, Nathan took the whole family to the park. Perfect weather, blue sky. The children raced toward the playground. Lucas was lecturing about pterosaurs. Sophie was actually listening. Lily was giggling. Then Lily lost her grip on the swing. She fell hard, scraping her knee badly. She started crying, and both Nathan and Rachel moved toward her. But Sophie and Lucas arrived first. Lucas had his first aid kit out. Sophie was holding her sister's hand. It's okay, Lily, Sophie said clearly. Dad's coming. Dad will fix it. Nathan stopped mid-stride. Dad. Lily looked up through her tears. Dad, it hurts. The word he had missed for 8 years. The word he had never known he was waiting to hear. Nathan knelt beside his daughter, cleaning the scrape carefully. His vision was blurred, but he did not try to hide it. I've got you, sweetheart. I've always got you. Lily sniffled. I know, because you're my dad. That evening, after the children were asleep, Nathan and Rachel sat on the back porch watching fireflies. I've been thinking, Nathan said slowly, about us. Rachel's hand found his. I loved you when we were young. I thought losing you would break me permanently. But this, what we have now, it's different, deeper. We were torn apart so we could be rebuilt stronger, Rachel said softly. Nathan reached into his pocket and withdrew a small velvet box. Rachel's breath caught. I'm not suggesting we rush anything, but I don't want separate apartments. I want to wake up beside you every morning. I want to build the life that was stolen from us. He opened the box. Inside was a simple but beautiful ring. Rachel Morgan, will you marry me? She was nodding before he finished. Yes, 1,000 times yes. The wedding took place in October in the same park where Lily had first called Nathan Dad. Autumn had painted everything in shades of gold and copper. Lucas walked down the aisle first, bearing the rings with grave responsibility. Sophie and Lily followed, scattering rose petals in matching blue dresses, their curly brown hair decorated with tiny white flowers. Then Rachel appeared, and Nathan forgot how to breathe. She wore a simple ivory dress that caught the autumn light. Her eyes, fixed on his face, held a love that had survived everything. Their vows were simple but powerful. Rachel, Nathan said, almost 10 years ago, I thought I lost you permanently. Then on Christmas Eve, I found 2 little girls freezing in the dark. I didn't know they were mine. I didn't know they would lead me back to you. I just knew they needed help. He paused. You gave me the greatest gifts, not once, but twice. Our daughters and a second chance. I choose you, Rachel. Today, tomorrow, every day that follows. Rachel's eyes glistened as she spoke. Nathan, I carry guilt for almost a decade. Every day I question my choices, but then you did something miraculous. You found our daughters when they needed you most. You loved them before you knew they were yours. You showed me that love doesn't keep score. It just keeps showing up. She squeezed his hands. Thank you for finding them. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for bringing us home. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, their children erupted in celebration. Then they opened their arms, and suddenly it was a group embrace. All 5 tangled together. We're family, Sophie whispered. Forever, Lily added. The best family anywhere, Lucas declared. After the ceremony, as the sun descended and painted the sky brilliant orange, they posed for a photograph. Nathan and Rachel in the center, Lucas, Sophie, and Lily arranged around them. 5 people smiling so hard their faces ached. Walking to the car later, Nathan surveyed his family, Lucas between his parents, gripping both their hands. Sophie and Lily ahead, glancing back every few steps to confirm everyone was still there. They had been 5 separate wounded people, a single father scarred by abandonment, a mother forcibly separated from her children, 3 kids who had learned too young that the world could be brutal. Now they were one family, whole, complete, together. Nathan reflected on that freezing Christmas Eve when he had nearly driven past a dumpster behind a closed grocery store. What if he had not stopped? His daughters would still be lost somewhere, frightened and alone. Rachel would still be searching, and he would still be living a half-life, never knowing what he was missing. But he had stopped. He had trusted an instinct he could not explain. And in helping 2 strangers, he had discovered everything he had ever needed. His daughters, his love, his family, his home. That was the true miracle. Not just finding 2 little girls abandoned in the cold on Christmas Eve, but that in saving them, they had saved him right back. They had led him home. Love finds a way. Through lies, through years, through pain, through impossible obstacles. All you have to do is be brave enough to answer when it comes knocking.